Hey guys, Ashlane here. Today wanted to go over some of the basics for low-level GoLaLoon at Town Hall 9. This video should be great for people who are just starting out with GoLaLoon or people who have a basic understanding but are just looking to take that next step. So we're going to start out by this attack by Little Lisa. You can see hero level 10 and 9. Hero levels will be below level 20 on all three of these replays today. And we're looking at the air defenses. Those are going to be the first things you look at when you're thinking about attacking a base with GoLaLoon. You're using golems, you're using lava hounds, and you're using wizards to establish the funnel. You're using balloons as your main force to take down the defensive units in the base. So your goal in the first phase of the attack should be using 1 or 2 golems as a meat shield for your wizards and heroes to take out the enemy queen in the base. Some of your wizards will funnel to the edges of the base, and that's totally fine. That's called establishing the funnel, making sure that your heroes have only one obvious direction to go, and that's going to be right into the queen. Now the idea here is you're going to take down an air defense and the enemy queen and the enemy clan castle. Those are absolutely imperative to take down in the first phase of the attack. This is a very basic attack. After you take down 1 air defense and maybe even 2, which we'll see in an additional replay, then you start deploying your lava hounds. The idea on the lava hound deployment and the balloon deployment is to come into the base in an area where there's not a super heavy defensive concentration. For example, it would be a mistake to start this raid at 6 o'clock in the south, because then the lava hounds would be heading into 3 air defenses, and this isn't a farming raid where you have a bunch of minions and rage spells and you're just trying to get the loot. This is a war raid where you're trying to get 3 stars. Now, the deployment of the balloons, a lot of people ask, how do I know how many balloons to deploy for each defense, and how can I tell which direction they're going to head? Well, the deployment of the balloons is more basic than you might think. You're never going to want to clump more than 3 balloons, or very rarely are you going to want to put 4 balloons. Maybe if you're going into a Tesla farm, which are all 4 Teslas, all in a small little concentrated area. But other than that, you're pretty much going to want to go ahead and deploy 2 balloons for every point defense, meaning archer towers or cannons along the edge behind the lava hound. And then you're going to want to deploy 3 balloons if they're going to have to go head-to-head with a wizard tower. Now, if there's a wizard tower along the perimeter of the base, that's a really good thing because you can distract the wizard tower with the lava hound, so the wizard tower will be facing and aiming and shooting in the opposite direction that the balloons are coming in from. That's why defensively it's always a good idea to get your wizard towers a little bit in from the perimeter of the edges of the base. Now, on this next replay, it's going to be Mr. Marcus going against this base that's all nice and really wide spread out. So I thought this would be a good base to show you in contrast to the first base, which is more compact in design. He's going to be hitting with GoLaLoon again, this time using 2 golems and only 3 lava hounds. That's the more standard composition. So if you're looking for a troop composition, go ahead and try to use this one. It's actually really effective. You can see he was hoping to take down that second air defense, and it looks at this point in the raid like neither of the air defenses might go down, but luckily the Archer Queen takes down 1 air defense. He pops the Barbarian King's Iron Fist ability, which makes him speed up and take down a few units, thereby rerouting the Queen to the Dark Elixir storage, and then she'll be further rerouted to the other air defense. But her level's just a little bit too low and she doesn't stay alive to take it out, and you can tell there's a little pause in the action. And sometimes when you're watching these replays live, you can almost read their mind, like, okay, I had expected to get 2 of those air defenses down. How do I adjust my raid from here? And you can see there's 3 balloons clumped up. There might actually be 4 there because he thought they might path right into that wizard tower. But just like I told you, that wizard tower is facing the lava hound there. So that's exactly what you want to have happen, because the wizard towers don't do too much damage to the lava hounds. Both of the wizard towers right now are actually placed pretty poorly in this base. I do have to give a shout out though to Go Arch War. They were a really good war clan, and they beat us by 1 star, so shout out to those guys. Very, very good job. So back to Mr. Marcus's attack here. One thing that neither of these attackers have done so far that I'd advise every attacker to do is hold off on at least 2 balloons for the very, very, very end of the raid. In case there's 1 wizard tower left standing, you can go ahead and distract it with 2 balloons, if not kill it towards the end of the raid. The third raid and the last raid of today's video is going to be another by Mr. Marcus. You can tell that Marcus, this is one of his favorite strategies, GoLaLoon, and he does it so well here. So again, 2 golems to start out. This is called Shattered GoLaLoon when you have 2 golems. When you have 1, does anybody know what that's called? When you have 1, it's called Cold-Blooded GoLaLoon. And when you have 3 golems, it's called Stoned GoLaLoon. And those apply, those little acronyms or monikers, I guess, apply to hog attacks as well. So he's going to drop a very nice poison spell here. Now, a little tip on the poison spell. If you can lure the clan castle in an area where it's also going to path over the enemy queen, you can drop your poison spell on the enemy queen, and although it's not going to do much damage to her, it's actually going to dramatically slow her rate of fire. That's something that I don't notice a lot of people doing, but it's really, really effective. So this time, Marcus was able to take down 2 air defenses, and now he's able to deploy the 3 Lava Hounds, 2 to the first air defense, 1 to the second air defense. Why is that? Because the initial Lava Hound going into the base is taking all the defensive firepower, and he's going to die pretty quickly. So if you deploy 2 Lava Hounds towards that first air defense, then you're ensured you have essentially a backup Lava Hound. And then you just give it a little bit of time, wait for the balloons to catch up, wait for that air defense to just about be targeted by the first batch of balloons. That's when you deploy your 3rd Lava Hound towards the next air defense. You can tell, once you get the hang of it, it's actually pretty easy. And you can definitely pull this strategy off without max heroes. Certainly, none of these attackers today had anything close to max heroes. So if I was waiting for my Valkyries to upgrade, let's say, because Go Vaho is probably my favorite strategy at Town Hall 9, maybe just max Valk, I would be definitely using, while I was waiting for them to get to at least level 3, I'd be using GoLaLoon for my 3-star attempts. I hope you guys do, and I hope you have a lot of success. You know, a lot of people say air attacks are, going extinct from the game, but I'm still having a lot of fun watching and executing them sometimes as well. So guys, I hope you do too. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, take care, guys.
We don't play for fame, we don't play for cash. We just play for the glory and the crash of the ash.